Okay, again, welcome everybody to the Food Sovereignty Fireside Chat. We are here to talk about food sovereignty and have some guests share a lot of the knowledge that they have around food sovereignty. So we're going to go ahead and get into this here. I'm going to start off by doing an introduction. So food sovereignty work background information here, the program here at SLFNA, the Preventing Chronic Diseases team at ACW approaches the community well-being, and SLFNA, which is Sioux Cove First Nations Health Authority, recognizes the traditional food knowledge that is strong in the First Nations communities. The communities have a deep connection to the land, and the food sovereignty practices which exist reflect that connection and knowing. In sharing the stories of community members, we aim to highlight the food self-determination, which is integral to the First Nations. So that's a little background on the food sovereignty work that is happening here at SLFNA. Of course, I do want to take a moment here as we're going into this to acknowledge, acknowledge the lands that we are presenting from. Right now, I'll just acknowledge from the places that Sioux Cove First Nations Health Authority is located. So Sioux Cove First Nations Health Authority acknowledges that it's situated on the traditional territory of Lac Seul First Nation. And it also has an office on the Fort William First Nation treaty area as well. So just want to acknowledge that today. And of course, I think we're coming from all different places as well today. So I'd just like to acknowledge everyone else's traditional lands that they are coming from as well, as that is, I think, an integral part of what food sovereignty is, the places that you are and where you're getting your food. So yeah, we have a really exciting afternoon for everyone that's tuning in. We have guests that are going to be speaking about food sovereignty. We have Tom Jr Kam, who is in Bearskin Lake First Nation. We're very, very honored to have Tom Jr here with us today. He's going to share with us his experience being a manager of a food co-op store in Bearskin, and tell us about that story, the background, his challenges, and his experiences. So we're very much looking forward to that. We have Ziggy Beardy as well, who's going to share his own experience around food sovereignty. And we have Jessica McLaughlin, who's also going to share their work around food sovereignty in our area as well. So all that being said, this is the Food Sovereignty Fireside Chat. We're going to go ahead and start with our first presentation, and that is with Tom Jr. Hello, Tom Jr.
Hi, Nick.
How are you today?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I just want to say that I'm really excited about the work that you're doing and hearing more about your experience, what you have to share, and what things you have to inspire other communities. Just really quickly, could I ask you to just introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Tom Jr Kam, I'm from Bearskin Lake First Nation. I've been living in Bearskin for most of my life, except for education purposes. I've been working at this place for the last 3 or 5 years.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. So Tom, we're going to start today with going through a series of photos, and in each of those photos, oh, Tom's got a call, important call.
No.
It's all good, Tom. If they're watching you right now, they're probably like, "Oh, he's not even going to pick up." But we're going to go through a series of photos, and I'm gonna have you tell us a little bit about them. Give us some background and let us know what's going on in those photos. So let's go ahead and get into that. So here we have the first photo. It says Bearskin Co-op Store. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of this photo? What is this photo?
Well, it's just a logo for our co-op store. The co-op has been in operation for about 30 or 40 years, I would assume. Probably roughly about 40 years. Back in the 70s, the people decided to get another store to give them a choice between the Hudson's Bay store and then get their own local store too. And this building here is the our first real building. We used to have an old school building back in the 70s, early 80s. It was used for the store to start off with, and then in the 80s, the community built this building. And people, like it's a co-op membership, people decide to pitch in to become members so they can have a say in the business. And it's been run like that ever since.
Oh, that's great, Tom. Thank you for that.
There we go.
Tom Jr., you're a busy guy, so that's okay. That's all right. We won't be keeping you too long, so you can get back to work. But we do appreciate your time so much here right now, and thank you so much for that information. So yeah, that's a picture of the store. Yeah, let's move on to our next photo here. So it looks like we have a picture. It's on the ice. Tell us about this photo, Tom.
Well, it's from last winter. I had a fish net there, got frozen, so I had to make a bunch of holes to try and free the fish net. It's pretty tedious once the net is frozen to the ice. So
Wow, that looks like a lot of work. Can you tell me a little bit about netting fish up north and how does that impact your co-op?
uh, personally, I've been doing this ever since I was a kid. My family used to go out fish netting. Then I used to see my parents give away most of the fish, so I've been carrying on with that. So ever since I was done high school, I've been going out there, except when I was away for education purposes. So I've been trying to teach the younger generation how to do that too. So
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So can you tell me when you're fishing, when you're using this netting process, uh, is this used for selling in the co-op?
no, I don't. I just it's an easy place to distribute fish. So whenever I get a good catch of fish, I just bring it to a store and then check it in the back. Then whenever my customers, people that I know who like traditional food, I'll give them some food, fish.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna come up to Bearskin then this winter then grab some fish off you.
Hope so. Hope so. I
That
just
would be
want
great.
to, yeah. I just want to check my fish net there down the lake here. So I'll probably have to do what I did to it. Like there's that picture there. I'll probably have to do the same thing tomorrow because
Wow,
the fish
wow.
net's frozen to the ice again. So
Okay. I hope that doesn't cause too much problems. So Tom, can you tell me a little bit about the picture here? Like, what am I looking at? I see like for those that go ice fishing, it would be one hole. For this, I see four holes, and a lot of like branches and like what's going on here?
well, that stick in the middle, it's holding the fish net down because the net is under the ice. It goes along the line there. So I'm trying to free it, but I had no luck. So basically, what I have to do tomorrow with my net down the lake here is same process, but the ice is less thick, so I shouldn't have too much of a problem.
Okay,
hopefully.
all right. Yeah, no kidding. It's a little, feels a little bit earlier in the year. I'm surprised that yeah, that's an amazing process. Thank you so much for sharing that. That looks like a lot of work. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, we got a little bit. So now you're describing the net. This looks like a little bit more of that process. Can you tell me what is this photo of?
Well, it's a photo of my catch from a couple of winters ago. Last winter, I didn't have a catch like this because the net was frozen under the ice. So
Mm,
this is from a couple of years back. So the net goes under between two poles, two holes. It stretches about 300 feet, 150 feet. The length of the net is about 150 feet. And I prefer to use a 5.5 mesh net.
mm,
So you'll get less of a catch, but you get the bigger fish. Then you don't have to worry about all those little fish that really get tangled.
mm.
Then there's a rope at the mouth of that hole there to the other hole. So once I want to put the net back under, I just have to give that rope a pull. You can see on the bottom left hand there, there's part of the rope there. So I'll just reach for that and then start pulling the net back under. Then put the pole back under the ice too, so or stand it up. Same thing with the other side. So
Mm.
yep.
You make it sound so simple, Tom.
Well,
It
it
looks like
used to be, yeah.
it looks like a lot of hard work. So can you tell me, okay, what kind of fish are there?
Well, I usually go for a whitefish, and we get suckers. We get northern pike and walleye. And then different times of the year, there's fish eggs. So this time of the year, the whitefish don't have any eggs, but the suckers have an abundance of eggs. So people use that for fish bank and lots of different stuff they can use that for.
Awesome. That's amazing. Uh, one last question about this slide. So I see a lot of fish on the ice there sitting in the snow. Like that looks like it would feed a lot of people. How many people do you think that amount of fish there would last you or feed?
Well, usually it depends on the household. Maybe I'll give a couple to a household, or maybe just one. It varies from house to house. So,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, that looks awesome. And let's move on to our next photo. All right. Looks like we're getting a really detailed look at this whole process. Can you tell me more about what's going on in this photo?
Well, it's in the halfways checking out the net there. Sometimes you could get big clumps of fish, the preferred fish. But then again, all fish is preferred because they're all healthy and stuff, nutritious, delicious.
Of course they are. Of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, that no, this looks good. I like the close up of what this looks like because I've honestly never been netting. I've never netted fish before, so I appreciate getting to see what this process is. Yeah, for our viewers, for people that are tuning in right now, I hope that you're appreciating this process. I think this is I don't know how many communities are netting fish in the winter, but if you're getting some fish going on up there, it's amazing to see. Let's move on to our next photo. All right, this looks like more of the netting process. I do have a question about this next slide. How far do you have to go away from your community to set your nets?
Roughly about an hour and a half by Skidoo. Back in the old days, maybe an hour, 40 minutes. When you're
Okay.
younger, you go faster. Yeah. But when you get older, you have to be more careful.
I know what you mean, Tom. I know what you mean. Can't move as fast as I used to, so I totally know
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
mean.
There you go.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a ways. That's far away. So how many places do you have set up like this? Do you just have this one area, or do you have multiple? Uh-oh, I think we may have lost Tom here. Um, just a quick little moment while I think Tom's internet may have frozen there. So for those tuning in right now, uh, Tom Jr. runs the co-op in Bearskin Lake First Nation. And I gave a quick little background on him, but when we first started here, but the co-op started in the late 70s, early 80s, and people contributed $5 each to start the co-op. And at the time, there was another building, um, and I guess that might have been the competing building, but the store is run with the co-op membership overseeing the store, and they have regular board meetings once per month, but the store is operated separately from the band. But there is one counselor who does provide input and guidance and does attend the board meetings of the co-op. So uh, I feel like that's an amazing feat or accomplishment for the community to be able to put this together, to have food sovereignty, and of course the ultimate goal, food security, within their community. I'm just going to go ahead and double check to see that Tom will be joining us once again here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh yeah, you're okay. You're still there. Was it my internet that froze or was it yours?
The picture of you disappeared or paused, I guess. So I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, I wonder if it
Yeah.
was my internet then. Weird. Okay, well, apologies for that, Tom. I'm sorry. I thought you had frozen, but I guess it was me. Um,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's get back into this then. Do we have some more photos here? I don't know if you did the photo change for you. Is it the guy holding the fish on the lake?
The young lady, yeah.
Young lady. Okay, sorry. The snowsuit. I can't tell the
Yeah.
snowsuit.
She's
The
standing right
person. The person.
there.
So the person holding the fish here. So what's going on here? Why is she holding the fish? Is she inspecting them, or what's happening here?
Well, once in a while we catch a perch, so we usually catch pike and walleyes at that spot. So it was nice to see a perch. So took a picture of it.
Awesome, awesome. And then
And
so she's still holding up. So did you
and
guys
that's
what did
my.
you guys do? Do you guys keep this one then and eat it or what?
I, I kept the other one, but this one's another picture from a week later on. That's my niece. She tossed that fish back in the holder. So
Awesome. Well, it looks
I
like on
think
all these fishing trips you guys have a lot of fish, so that's
uh,
impressive.
we we did good. Yeah.
It looks good. Um, okay, so here we have a photo, totally different aspect of food harvesting. Looks like you're trapping rabbit here. Can you tell me about the photo here and what this process is like?
Oh, excuse me. I think this one's from a couple of years back. Went a different route to go to the camp. So along the way, tossed some snares up, got some rabbits, and usually keep some and give away some because the elders like eating rabbits. And I was teaching the young girl and my granddaughter how to set up rabbit snares and stuff like that. And this year, my nephew and there's another young guy and one of the Twizzler workers. They're going along that same route, so they're doing the same thing, putting up rabbit snares and shooting the elders and stuff like that right now. So I'm not sure when they're heading back out, but they've gotten quite a few.
Wow, that's really impressive. This is not something you see very often. You don't see like what this process is. I think a lot of people don't like imagine what the work that goes into food sovereignty and food security for a community. Maybe a lot of people think it's airplanes and driving food up, but like the food that you're actually going out and trapping and finding like this, um like, how can you tell me how do you keep those skills alive?
Or just keep practicing it. Just keep at it. I guess I must be losing practice since I'm having no luck having a fish net under the ice nowadays. But I'm gonna keep trying, I guess.
Yeah, I don't believe that's true, Tom. Tom, it looks like you're doing well. Like, it's impressive to see these skills be kept alive. It's inspiring. It's very inspiring, and we do have people that are watching online. And I'm hoping that they're seeing this and appreciating the work that it takes to provide for your family, for your community, and the people that you care about around you. Um, okay, let's move on to the next one. So we got a picture of a float plane. Tell me about this photo.
Uh, the, it's a it's a float plane I used to fly, but due to medical reasons, I haven't been able to fly for the last 3 years. But it's been vital in my upbringing. Like our family used to go to a camp, so that's how I got connected to a land. Like going out there back and forth. Family would go out there, spring break up, fall freeze up, and just live off the land. And the float plane gives us easy access or easier access to traditional foods. Even the other locals have access to our float planes, and now it's a little pricey because we have to get another plane from a different place, different community. So it's pretty costly, but I wouldn't mind getting back to it. So
Mhm,
hopefully soon.
mhm. Well, that's incredible. So one of the things that when we were talking about doing this food sovereignty is talking about the skills and things that you had for what you were doing at the co-op. But one thing that did stick out to me was that you are a pilot. So I just think for me that's a skill that you have that you bring to providing that part of food sovereignty for your community. How did you become a pilot?
Like the family used to go to a camp, so I used to sit way in the back of the Cessna. So the heavier people, the adults, would sit towards the front to keep the weight in balance. So I fell in love with bush flying, so I figured, well, I'll try that. Grade 10, had glasses, so I figured, well, my dream's dead. Then after high school, I was asked, did you want to go try your medical? And it passed, so I went for it. And then roughly when I was finishing my commercial course, there's a plane right behind pilot side, pilot side of this picture of the float plane. That's the Cherokee. Me and another Round Lake guy flew up from past Toronto in a small plane like that. Took us about 11 hours, 12 hours each way to finish our commercial requirements for our licenses. So that was pretty neat.
I don't know, Tom. Like, neat. That's awesome. That's so cool. I think that's incredible. It's an incredible story, Tom. And like it's inspiring. I think it inspires young people to know that they can also fly planes. They can
Well,
also lead their community, and I think that's huge. So we've got another photo of I think the same plane. What is this, the same plane? Tell me about this photo, Tom.
yeah, one of the last years I flew, it's the Cessna float plane. I was about 81 miles north of here, Chachago River, Fox's Camp. I was doing a supply flight on a moose haul, I think. So I went over there, took a break, went up the hill, went to the camps, to the houses, and stayed there for about an hour. After that, came back, with the load. I think I'm not too sure, but maybe just a supply drop. So about 50 minutes one way, 45 minutes, roughly about there.
Wow.
Nice little flight. Yep.
So that was just you by yourself on the plane and just having a little break.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's incredible, Tom. That's incredible. Let's move on. Okay, so we have another photo here. Now we're back in winter time, and it looks like someone's on the road. Grab. I don't know what this is. What? Tell me what I'm looking at, Tom.
Well, this young ladies, we're doing a freight run for the store. Then we stopped, seeing a partridge up ahead. With my luck, I've injured quite a few partridges without killing them. So I told my passenger, well, go for it. And sure enough, she killed it. Then for the locals in the town here, they got quite a few partridges this year, so they were able to spread the wealth. So that was neat.
That's incredible. That's awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about like is partridge hunting just as popular as fishing, just as popular as moose hunting?
Well, partridge hunting is more accessible because you can use a four-wheeler truck. You're just right in town. Fishing, yeah, I guess in the summertime you can do a lot of harvesting in town here, so it's more widespread. Fishing, moose hunting, same thing. But some people like to go to their traditional lands and go do a hunting and fishing over there too.
Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate that. And I like the fact that, you're not, even though you find an animal and you injured it, like somehow keep that part of, uh, I guess honoring the food, not wasting it, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Um, Here we have a photo. Looks like almost nighttime, evening. Is that what this is? What am I looking at here?
All right, that's the moon. Once in a while, I'll jump on the skidoo. I'll go for a ride. I'll just go to the spot. And then again, I'll just keep going. And then I find myself going across that lake, going across that land. Then I found myself at the camp. So I just went for a ride to the camp and came back that evening. So it was a beautiful ride with a moon like that, and just went for a ride just like that.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful photo. I think that's it. I think that brings us to our last photo here. That was an amazing journey to get to see the work that you do there. Um, I do want to say uh, that it's very inspiring to see the work that you do, Tom.
Oh yeah,
I do have some
thanks.
questions about the
Sure.
co-op. So when we were frozen there a little bit, I was talking about the history of the co-op and a little bit. Can you tell me how does your community co-op run? For communities that are watching that don't have this kind of thing, that only rely on the northern store or maybe don't have many options, what can you describe the co-op and how it runs?
Well, the co-op back in the old days, everybody wanted to become a member, chipped in $5. It's still the same rate to this day, $5. So then you can have a vote in picking out the board. So everybody has a say. So once in a while, we'll have a general meeting, co-op meeting. Then they'll ask the board and if they want to run again, and they'll have a vote like who's all in attendance, and then they'll ask those people if they want to be with the board. Then they're in charge of the hiring process too. They have a say in it.
Can you tell me like why was the co-op started?
Well, the co-op was started generally to give the community another choice, pricing wise, to give the people a better price, different products, so they can have more of a say on what's sold and what's sold and who works and stuff like that. Because with the Northern Star, you're so limited with the hours. Like a person can work with the hours; they have a say. So to keep the costs down.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Can you tell me about the challenges? The idea of having the co-op, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds like the community benefits from it. Sounds like it's a lot, there's a lot of good reasons to do this. What are the challenges when you're running a co-op like this for your community?
Well, there's a lot of expenses like salary, freight, and even our products. They keep going up, so I have to keep at it. Like basically, almost every day, I have to double check prices and with what I'm getting billed and what's going up, and air freight's going up, and minimum salary went up just October, I think. So another 50 cents an hour. So it all adds up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you there's when you're running the co-op, do you run into other challenges, maybe around like like running out of food or things like that? Like how does that work?
Well, quite a few times, yeah, our freezers get bare, our
Hmm.
shelves get bare. It's due to it depends on the weather too. I guess for the flights and the freight flights, and people like shopping here too, so it gives them
Hmm.
another choice. And some products they don't have at the next store, and some products we don't have. So I find that it's good for both places to be around, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's no, that makes absolute sense. Um, so when it comes to the co-op too, I know we talked a lot about figuring out or just about the how what why it's there. What are the impacts it has on the community? Like what how do you see your community um, being impacted by the co-op? Like is this a huge part? Is this important for them to have this?
Yeah, for sure, it's made a big impact. Like when I used to fly, I used to go to other communities and check out their stores and their community stores and their northern stores, and I noticed a big price difference. Even here, like about 6 years back, let's say water used to be over $3 10 liters next door. Well, I had my water for 2 bucks, so they brought that down. So when I started flying too back in '95, roughly about that time, I went to Shimadawa, checked out their prices. A 1 liter of orange juice was about $6. At the place where I was staying, they told me you can help yourself. So I looked at the price on that. I'm not touching that. Just put it back in the fridge and had myself a cup of tea.
Wow. Well, so it sounds like, people rely heavily on the co-op, and it must impact their lives when they're able to save money, buy more food, provide more for their family, eh?
Yeah. Well, that's the reason that they want their store to keep the costs down. So
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that. So been fortunate enough to do that. And freight, a couple of years back, we didn't have a freight truck, so I was able to access a freight truck, and it's helped cut the cost quite a bit down too. So less hassle,
That's awesome.
save a few more bucks. Yeah.
That's good. That's no, that's great to hear. Do you have any stories? Do you have any harvesting stories? Like that's another thing. We got to see so much of your process of fishing, and hunting, and you talked about, being a pilot. Uh, I feel like you've probably traveled a lot. You're probably out on the land a lot. Do you have any stories about being out there on the land?
Yeah, I guess I sort of do. Like right after high school, when I was just a young guy, my grandpa was across Severn Lake there, and then that around that time of November, I'm not too sure when. It had frozen, but um, the lake was frozen, and then all of a sudden it started raining. I told him I'll be there on a certain day, so I jumped on my skidoo, got my stuff, went across, drove across the lake here. It looked like it was just open water, but got to a river, looked at it, tried to check it out. Eh, oh, I'll go across. Drove across and got to his camp across Severn Lake. But after an hour's worth of driving, I figured, well, this is good enough. I guess I'm staying put. Starts getting ready, gets on his skidoo. Well, I guess we're going. So we ended up chasing him all the way to the camp there. We had to cross another big lake, and he's on there. He's on his skidoo. It looks like he was on a boat or something like that, but it was something else. So we ended up in the house there for a couple of nights until it got cold, and then we went to the other side of the island there and set up a fish net. And ever since then, if I want pike, I'll go to that spot. But right now, with the temperature, I don't think I'll be able to go to that spot. So we just going to a river where the current is flowing, where the net's not going to get frozen. Yeah. So it's something else. Sure enough, we got lots of fish that time. So well, that's one of them. I have lots.
We're gonna have to have another one of these with you, Tom Jr.
Oh
Seriously,
yeah.
wow, wow. So that brings us to the end of our presentation with you, Tom. Do you have any last words of inspiration for communities that might want to start looking at food sovereignty and addressing food security?
Well, just gotta love your land, I guess, and teach your the newer generation how to live off the land and invest into that sort of lifestyle. And education is important too. Like I wouldn't be in this situation if I didn't bother with my education. Who knows where I would be? Like I got to fly because I finished my education, went out and stuff like that. So I had to go for it. Education is important, and living off the land is important. Well, you got to connect to everything like that. So, because if you have nothing to connect to, well, I'm not too sure. I wasn't in that situation, so I'm lucky that I was brought up this way.